Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hair Curler Chronicles. Tim and Nancy Danter in the house tonight, and we've got Ryan Hemsley with us. He'll be up in just a moment. Let's get over to some comments. I know Candace is in the house. Hey, guys, we got Twin World Game Reviews is here. We really need to know what your first name is. You should put it in the comments section. Chris is in the house. Hi, guys. This is going to be a fun, intimate chat tonight, and we thought we would switch gears and we wouldn't really talk about crypto or investing. And you know what? We just thought we would just change it up for tonight. And welcome. Here's Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
How's it going? This is an impromptu live stream. I'm excited to be a part of it. This is something everybody planned last minute. And I think it's pretty cool because the content is relevant, actually, with respect to what we're going through right now.
I think so. I think so too. And you know what else we're going to do tonight? I'm gonna lob out the link to jumping on with us at a certain point in time. So when we get a few more viewers up, and if anybody wants to join us tonight, I'm going to put a link to the chat, and we'd love for you to come on and chat live with us. How's everybody doing tonight? I know Candace is in the house. Chris, this is fun. This is just so weird to do it.
This is a spur of the moment live stream, everybody. Again, if you haven't already, subscribe. If you're brand new, spur of the moment. This is the heat of the moment, just like that amazing song I love. This is rocking and rolling here. And the Danter's idea, I couldn't be more happy about what we're talking about. I mean, it's pretty exciting. To do something so spur of the moment. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? And it's not a topic that a lot of people want to talk about is debt. They want to talk about crypto. They want to talk about investing. They want to talk about getting themselves into a place where it's, where they're making money. But part of it is if we're not talking about,
Okay. You're playing back. You got to lower your volume a bit.
Oh, Tim and I are having technical challenges here.
No problem. It's a good on my end, at least, but
I can hear it. Yeah, there we go. No, it went back up.
What do you mean it went back up? Sorry, we're on my computer. Poor Tim's got some computer challenges. So anyways, okay. So what I'm going to do, Time Changes is here. Yay. Welcome. Welcome. So I'm going to just put a link in the chat here in the chat box. If you feel like you are brave enough to come on and banter with us live, I've put the link in the chat. You can feel free to come on in and talk live with us. But I want to start by lobbing out. It says an error has occurred. Did the error occurred? Oh, there's Zach. Hey, Zach, how are you? Welcome. Okay, I want to start and talk about what is the stupidest thing that you ever went into debt for? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh my God. On my end, with respect to the debt, stupidest thing is beggars can't be choosers, ladies and gentlemen. And can you guys hear me, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Stupidest thing is that beggars can't be choosers. And we've all hit that moment where we're kind of down and out. But that's where we're most vulnerable. The dumbest thing ever, when anybody is dealing with an interest rate above 19%, you're desperate. And that was probably, I've dealt with that. My credit score was really bad at one point. It happens. It is what it is. But sometimes beggars can't be choosers. And quite honestly, there comes that question where do you take it to advance maybe your next step or move back and save up? I mean, when you rely on only cash, it's pretty devastating. I know that firsthand knowledge, but it can be tough. I would say though, my biggest regret though was taking a beggars can't be choosers type of mentality on one of my first cars. It killed me. Yeah. It absolutely killed me.
How old were you?
I was 20. I was 21.
21. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, look, Ken's in the house.
Hey, Ken, what's going on, buddy?
And we've got a couple words. Look who else is here. We got Kriza. I think that's how you say your name. And PSR 076. be really fun to know all these people's names instead of
I
just
know.
calling them by their handles. It's so weird. It's nice that we know who Ken is now, so we don't call him the Great White Vapor anymore. Okay, so one of the things that I wished I had learned. So guys, it'd be really fun in the comments if you want to say some of the dumbest things that you've ever put debt on. This one wasn't the dumbest, but I wished I'd understood it more. We were young.
What is it?
We
dumb?
were young. We were young, and we bought a bed at Sleep Country. And you could do those don't pay a cent event things. And
They
so,
hook
okay,
ya.
so I don't really know why we didn't understand it, but we did the thing, don't pay a cent. I'm telling you that bed cost us 4 times what it was worth if we had just put it on a credit card and paid it off instead of doing that. I don't really understand that. I didn't really understand. And we were in our
I told
20s.
you we should have slept on it.
we were in our 20s.
Bad
and
joke.
we did the thing, and then what we should have been doing is we should have been putting down what we would have been paying as a monthly payment into a bank account. So when the thing came due, that then we just paid it all off. And then I didn't know that if you didn't pay it off on the date, that all of a sudden, all the interest that you had been accumulating for that year dumped on there. And then it was like, it felt like the never ending story paying that bed off. I've never done that since.
And yeah, it's devastating. I can't see the live comments as of yet. For all of those kind of wondering, with Rogers out today, my internet's all over the place. I'm wondering what's going on. Great to see so many people on. Again, PS 076. Just tell us your name, buddy. Oh, it's Patricia. Okay, we nailed it. But Great White Vapor, Candace, so amazing seeing you guys all on. This was so impromptu. I'm excited about it. The content was relative, but debt can be one of those things where you're crippled. Without a credit score, you're crippled. It's as simple as that. I couldn't do a single thing in my life if I didn't have a credit score, and I didn't. So it's really about a matter of building it all up.
Yeah, Devo Hall says student loan. Really? Was that the one you regretted the most? Because I would think, Devo, would that not be like you got something really cool out of it, or do you really regret it?
Well, the interesting thing was our daughter had debt. They both had debt coming out of university through OSAP and stuff like that. And we took a look at the monthly payments because they were just saying it's not going down, it's not going down. We switched it over to a bank loan, and we knocked like 7 months off of it, and the interest rate was better. And so there's always ways of looking at different ways of doing things.
I would say
OSAP is more expensive than a bank loan?
Whatever she had it in,
it was more expensive.
Yeah, I think it kicks in as soon as she finished school, and then you have to start paying it off. Like it's insane. But we put it over to a bank loan, and it was much more manageable. Candace has got a bit of a story here. She said, I had a roommate that wanted to stay after I moved. The landlord okayed it. A few months later, he stiffed them for the rent. They sued me for the rent. I lost as they sent that to subpoena.
Yeah.
To the old house, so never got it and lost, but not showing up. I refuse to pay it and choose to let it sit on my credit for 6 years. Oh, Candace, that's horrible. That is horrible.
Being a landlord is a very serious responsibility, and even referring people with respect to a sublease, it's going to be pretty devastating.
Yeah, she says she could have fought it, but the cost of doing so was more than the darn bill. It's just terrible. Oh, your mom's in the house. Hi, Christine. How are you? And my friend Debbie's in the house too. This is awesome. See, we've got 20 people that just popped in because it was a Monday night and they didn't know they just wanted to talk about debt.
What are you saying? They had nothing else better to do?
Oh, geez. Oh, and Ken says student loan killed me. Went through as a welder and now look at what I do. Yeah, and his was a 74 a month for 14 years. I know. $74 a month. It just kills you.
14 years at that.
That's crazy.
You might as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Zach Chapman says he agrees with Devo, especially the last 2 years being online. It felt like a lot of money for a lower quality of education. Yeah, I don't disagree there for sure. Oh, Jason Spooner's in the house.
Hey,
Hi,
Jay.
Jason. He says, I used to pay, I used payday loans forever, put myself 45,000 in debt, took my fiance serious, paid off all my debt from the late 2019 till 2020. Financial freedom is amazing. It is so true. It is so true. And
I will say this too, Jay. I myself, okay, I've been in the payday loan scenario myself. It can be pretty devastating. Okay, they charge. Okay, so there's that Ontario's the worst for it, but the legislation tops out, for instance, interest rates, and a payday loan company will max it out at every single time, and they're taking advantage of the vulnerable at the same time. Getting out of a payday loan scenario, if you can literally stop buying stuff just to avoid a payday loan, in case you're brand new to the channel, don't know what we're talking about, payday loans will kill you. They will literally destroy your future. And that's why, there are so many MPs, MPPs who push for eliminating them with respect to zoning scenarios inside of a city. It's because they cripple the population. Payday loans are absolutely devastating. Getting out of them is the best thing you could possibly do, in my opinion.
No, it's true. Our new friend Patricia, because now we know what your name is. Patricia said the biggest regret is not started paying my student loan right away. It's paid now. Yeah, Patricia, when we figured out that we were helping our daughter, and she was paying and nothing was changing, that we really had to have a look at it, and it was just silly. It was silly. Oh, we've got Bleak 784 is in the house. Hey yo, how are you? And Mr. Red Taco's here. And he just said he always wants to see the puppy. I swear you're gonna have to start taking pictures and be posting it up periodically throughout the.
You're gonna have to put a camera in your bedroom and just have it as a side pane every live stream, so they can.
I think we're very lucky that he's right now chilled out enough to just kind of sleep by my side here.
There you go.
So let's keep him calm and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and Mr. Red Taco said CBC did a marketplace on payday loans. Did anybody else but Mr. Red Taco see that?
I didn't personally see that, no. But payday loans can be devastating. They're brutal. I mean, they kill people. Like literally, you will find yourself in a hole deeper than you ever thought possible when you start getting down the payday loan route. It's not even funny, actually. I've been down that road and I'm still dealing with a collection account on that road. Like I said, that's the only one I got left. You take out a $300 payday loan, and if you're in a bad scenario, mark my words, okay, give it a year, you'll owe them $2,000. Okay, because mark my words. Okay, you'll cripple yourself. And now the thing is, when you start making the money back, you obviously are going to pay the $2,000 for your $400 loan. It's not even funny, guys. The one thing, forget investing in crypto or in stocks or in anything that at least I talk about on my channel. Forget it. If you've got a 29.9% interest rate on a car, for instance, you know what I mean? It'll cripple you.
Yeah, no. Krizaz, I hope I'm saying your name right. It sounds like Krizaz. She said, Nancy, I totally get that. It's been about 2 years and I've just cracked the first 1,000 plus. I try to pay extra. It is awful. It is awful. And it's a pit in your stomach feeling. This is on her OSAP. I'm telling you, if you're on here and you've got an OSAP situation going on, go to a bank.
Yep.
Go to a bank.
Yeah.
Talk to them about it. All you're doing, you're not asking for more credit. You're just asking to swap it out. We helped my daughter with this, and she's just finally paid off her first student loan, but she's in the middle of she's just in the final week of finishing her MMA, which is like a MBA program. So she's back in debt again. I feel so bad for that kid.
So let me ask you guys in the community that's online right now, would you do a loan or would you do a line of credit?
Good question, actually.
And I don't know the answer to that because...
but there's pros and cons to both. There are serious pros and cons to both. That's a really good question. A line of credit applies to people, I find, who have a little bit more in the asset class. But you guys, again, answer Tim's question. That's a really good question.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's Mr. Red Taco is asking, what is OSAP?
Ontario Students Assistance Program.
Yeah. So you must not be from Ontario. Where are you from again? He's definitely not from Ontario. That's the Ontario
Well, either
student.
that or he's
Student
never
loans program, basically.
Yeah.
That you have to pay back.
Yeah.
Yeah, grants you don't have to pay back from
And again,
government.
for anyone who's kind of looking at this, because again, you might be coming onto this as the Tim and Nancy Danter channel, the crypto channel. This is the most impromptu video we've ever done. This was scheduled like an hour ago. We decided to rock and roll with it. This is about recapturing everything that's costing us our next step, right? Debt. At the end of the day, debt. How much of us have debt? Almost every single one of us, and it's crippling us. So we thought it was kind of important. They're working on a very unique project right now. I love it, but the debt aspect of it, it's so important to not just me, not just them, but you guys too. We thought we'd kind of bring this up. It was kind of interesting.
Yep. And Ken,
Yes.
and Ken, who's one of our contributors on Crypto Night in Canada, says debt comes first, then investments. And because he says line of credit is cheaper than line of credit cheaper minus 5%. What do you mean? That doesn't make sense.
No,
to me.
he means like his. I think he means his rate is 5%. I mean, okay, a line of credit can't.
Mine is okay.
Yeah, I think like a line of credit can be cheaper, but there's also scenarios. I mean, for instance, a line of credit versus a loan. The only reason there's a different version of a security is because there's different advantages. So it kind of creeps up with respect to your own scenario. A line of credit can apply to a lot of people, but a loan tends to apply to people a little bit more vulnerable. I will say that right now. I mean, the vulnerability aspect of things, you're not going to get a line of credit if you have a hard time with a loan. So there's stages of that aspect, in my opinion.
I think that I find that there's more security in the loan because with the line of credit, you can pay it off and then you can take the money back out just like a credit card. So again, you're spending money you don't have. Whereas a line of credit is an absolute commitment to pay this thing down. It's open, make it an open one so you can pay off increments, no penalties involved, and you never dip back into that pool of money again. It's a matter of knocking it down. That's the only way that scenario can go. Whereas a line of credit can go up and down, up and down, up and down. And you get yourself just out of trouble, then you have that impulse or whatever it is, and away you go again.
Yeah. That's what Mr. Red Taco says. Line of credit is open-ended, a loan is not. I remember a line of credit, all you had to pay was the interest. Yeah, and it can get you into further debt, which is what Owen is saying. Debt is easy to wander into, very hard to get out of, and if you get way into deep. So listen, we're already up to 27 impromptu.
And this is the thing, guys. It might be a lower viewership because again, we planned this, or the Danters planned this like an hour ago. This was just totally spur of the moment. So again, hit like, hit subscribe, but share to your friends on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. But this is not the crypto stock chat. This is like the advancements of what we can do with respect to the debt. The Danters know my debt scenario has changed considerably. I mean, theirs has changed, I'm sure, in the last 2 or 3 years because of their advancements in their industry, or, well, their investments, really. I mean, your lives have changed with it, but debt is truly, truly the only thing holding 99% of you back right now. It's a fact.
Yep, and I've just posted in the chat again for anybody that wants to jump on and talk to us tonight. Feel free to use the link in the chat and come on in and have a chat with us. So I have to throw out another question. Hi Twin World Game Reviews. We need to know your first name, but welcome to the chat. Okay, is all debt bad? We've just said that we've all been in debt. Is all debt bad?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so what do you think? Why?
No. Okay, so is all debt bad? No. So with respect to, because you always have to consider the growth rate versus the debt interest rate versus your kind of motivation on things. I don't think all debt is bad. So the only thing that I consider is an interest rate on that debt versus my growth and what I can perceive coming in the future. So if I, am growing as I'm growing, but I take a 5% loan knowing that the interest on that's small, for instance, and I can pay it off soon. I mean, it's all relative to incoming cash outgoing cash. You've got to really kind of judge the growth rate on a personal level. For me, at least, I mean, growth rate, though, to me, I counteract that with interest rate. No, debt is not all bad, but there's that fine line that you have to dance on. You don't want to, I mean, you don't want to be taking on debt that you can't handle versus what you can produce. That's, I mean, it's complicated, but I mean, there are some certain loans that can actually make you money at the same time. I mean, there are certain opportunities. I mean, if you've had a chance to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, debt can be a great thing for you, or debt can be a great thing for you. It's how you use the debt. It's how you take advantage of the opportunity versus your expenses, outgoing, etc. Right? So to me, at least, there's good debt, there's bad debt, but debt is not one thing. It's what you make of it, really.
Yeah, and your mom made a good point. Sometimes you need money to make money, and then she's so right about that. And you know, here's Mr. Red Taco again. Your asset to debt ratio matters. Which is why the bank asks you for that. What assets do you own versus what you're paying off? Yeah. So your mom's got another one. I just got a loan for a large piece of equipment so I can make more money. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And so if you can make that money pay for itself faster than you're paying off the debt, then that's fine.
Well, if it's a break even, right?
Well, I mean, if it's a break even, it's not a successful investment. But at the same time, if you're paying 5% interest, but you can guarantee yourself a 7% plus gain, that's where debt you can use to work in your advantage, which is why, you know, multi-millionaires will take out a $200 million loan to buy a business for $200 million, make $400 million in the next year. And then that's how the rich get richer, taking advantage of debt. So there's a scenario to use it for sure.
Yeah.
In a business case scenario, it also is a write-off.
Well, and it's a write-off, like with our rental property, that is a write-off for us. So
there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
And guys, by the way, I just sent out a link on my Facebook. I sent a link out pretty much everywhere. The fact that again, this is impromptu, so no worries if no one's prepared. But take that option for the link. Come on, tell us about your scenario. Let's rock and roll here together, guys. This is very fun. We've never done a spur of the moment live chat like this before. It was literally planned about an hour ago, really. We were just talking about an hour ago. Yeah. Yeah.
No, and Candace has got a good point. If you have debt with a 3% APR, it's better to just pay the minimum on it and invest the rest, especially if you can get over 6% or 8%, you know, like you can definitely, this makes a lot of sense. You know where it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I will tell you, not that it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I know that some of you have seen this book. If you haven't seen this book, I should hold it so you could see the author. It's called Wealthing Like Rabbits by Robert R. Brown. And Rob Brown was the one that hired me at Gordon Food Service. And so he wrote this book. And when I was learning and training with him, he was in the middle of writing this book. So I always start at the very back of the book where it talks about acknowledgments, because I helped him. I was helping him with some of the ideas in this book. So this book is near and dear to my heart. But if you haven't read this book, this is actually it's funny. He talks about his titles are hysterical. He's got rabbits, zombies, and RRSPs. He talks about the Mario Brothers mortgage scenario, lessons in saving from the Toronto Maple Leafs, debt and disease. Like he's funny. Like he's got some funny scenarios, but he does a whole thing on Mario and Luigi. And so the two brothers, and one who buys a house, even though that they could take a mortgage for the largest amount, and one who takes a smaller mortgage with a house that's more manageable, and what the bigger mortgage cost him over the longer period of time. It's actually astounding how fast that debt can accumulate and compound in. Oh, my friend Monique's here. Hi, Monique. How are you? I asked her to come on. She says she's camera shy. She's so
camera
funny.
shy. It's okay. I'd say 99% of you, everyone is camera shy on this one.
I'm
But
very
again,
shy.
guys, once you get on, you'll feel very confident. It's very exciting coming on. I sent the link out on my Facebook. It's on the live chat, guys. Again, it took me, even on my channel with 200 people, it took like 10, 15 minutes for someone to literally build themselves up to it. So, guys, get your webcam ready. We're just waiting for you, okay? But come on and chat with us.
Yeah. So, anyways, so what I think in all of this, one of the things that Tim and I realized was we had to get the debt under control. We found ourselves, I don't know how, we were probably, the kids were high school age and the debt was just building up to just an unbelievable level. And so we had to do some very drastic things, like selling our house.
Why was the debt building up?
Well, we had invested in businesses and it was always for the right reason. And then we got trapped in the 2008 Great Recession. So that's a whole other story. But we ended up, we had a financial advisor that gave us several options. And he goes, and then he lobbed out the most drastic option. He goes, well, you could take the most drastic option where you sell your house, we get you out of everything and you start again. And so, which is what we did. And so anyways, it ended up being a great thing for us because now we have two pieces of real estate. We've got investments in the bank and we live well below our means. And it makes a huge difference. So getting out of debt is very near and dear to my heart.
And with that, we want to introduce someone to the community.
Hey, yo, someone took the plunge.
There you are.
Hey, yo. This is
How you doing?
Let me just say this, okay? Before I even introduce myself to you and you introduce yourself to us, this is what makes live streams amazing is having community members like this guy joining us here, headphones and all. I love it, buddy. You're ready to rock and roll. You've got it. You got the lighting set up. You got the headphones and the mic. You're ready to rock. I love it.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
We're doing just fine for a Monday night. It is no Monday. Monday night?
Monday. It's only Monday.
Monday night, yeah.
So introduce us to yourself.
Introduce us to yourself.
I'm Owen Vandermarl. So you've
nice,
probably
buddy.
you've probably seen me commenting on all the stuff the last couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Where are you from, Owen?
I'm from Ontario,
Okay.
St. Catharines.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm a Brock University graduate.
Oh, nice. That's
Owen, nice to finally see your face, by the way. I see your comments all the time. Rockstar, buddy. Rockstar.
Yeah, it's fun to be here.
Yeah, good.
Buddy.
Yeah, no, this is great. So, okay, so Owen, you're jumping on talking to us about debt. I know it's not as exciting as talking to us about crypto or investing. Do you have an awful debt story that you want to share with us? Something that you went, oh, why did I buy that? Or why did I get involved in that? Ryan's was his first car. Ours was
I haven't really been in much debt for most of my life. So I would say probably my first car was probably the big one.
Yeah.
I just got out of college and, you start making real money and then you're like, oh, I could afford that. You look at the monthly payment and you just get going. But no, I paid the car off as fast as I could. And ever since then, it's just been my house basically. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. So here's and you don't have to answer, but I know the answer for Ryan. Are you single or are you married?
I'm married.
Oh, okay. So here's the question then for Ryan. This is a single guy kind of question or a single gal question. I'm not sure we have many single girls in the audience, but would you actually go about finding out from a future mate how much debt they had?
No, for me, no.
That wouldn't matter to you? You would take her on if she had a
this
whole
way.
pile
If I'm
of debt?
genuinely like in love with the human being, I would be really pissed if they only considered money with me. So I'm not gonna. It's just not my issue. If I really want to be with this person, then I'll solve the problems with them. But no, if anything, it bothers me when women bring up money.
No. I'm not. I wasn't meaning. So let's go. Let's change the scenario. So say, for instance, you've been going out for A year.
Yeah.
You're separate.
And she was severely in debt.
Separate, and all of a sudden you're thinking of getting serious, and you find out it starts to come out of the woodwork how severely she's in debt.
Well, we either fix it or we don't. So it's just like there are very simple solutions to complicated problems. So and that's the nice thing about it is, are you going to fix it? No. Okay, well, then there's another problem. Are you going to fix it with me? Yes. Okay, then we can move forward. But to me, I don't get bogged down in the details and the dramatics of it, really. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't like talking about money with anybody. And if that's an issue and I got to that point with that person, it's not an issue, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like, we'll figure it out. Like that's kind of like, I mean, because I would expect the same out of my partner too. If I went through a dry time or if it was not as easy, I would want to be supported. But if I'm that deep into another individual, then it's not really an issue, because I also believe it wouldn't have gotten that far unless they were willing to kind of work with me at the same time.
So, Owen, what would you say is the most important thing, in your opinion, to I don't know if I'll use the word temptation, but what is the most important thing that you sort of stick by as a moral and a guideline to stay out of debt?
If I can't pay for it with the money in my bank account, then I don't buy it.
Good.
There you go.
Pretty basic. It's hard with all this crypto and investments going on, though. I can't say I haven't been tempted once or twice, but no, it's just buy what you can with the money you have, and that's it, right? So
yeah,
and that's the one thing that I think that I got us back on track with, was want versus a need.
Yeah.
And that's horrible to get used to at the very beginning until you actually desensitize yourself to it and actually see the change in the bank account.
Yeah.
If we're talking about wives and partners and all that kind of stuff, and I think if you, like, my wife is cheaper than I am, so I have to force her to go out and buy stuff sometimes because that's how much she saves. So if you end up with somebody like that, it makes your life in that area a lot easier. Right. I have friends that dated girls for a bit, and they just went shopping all the time and spent lots of money. It didn't end up working out. And I think that's kind of to Ryan's point a little bit, is that you'll find out pretty quick, and your relationship probably wouldn't get that far if it was that big of an issue for you too, right? So
yeah, exactly. That's how, I mean, to me, it's a litmus test. The second I start hearing about it if I'm not emotionally connected and I start hearing about money, it's over for me, at least. I mean, I don't want to talk about money. That's the last thing. The number one reason for divorce is money. So
that's what I was trying to get at. That was what I was where I was trying to go with it, was how congruent are you if you become a saver and she's not, or vice versa?
I don't know if a saver and a spender would even get married. Like, because you got to, I mean, unless they were devastating in love and one had a set role and the other one had another role that they both fit, like this kind of thing. I don't know. For me, I couldn't be with a spender, and I'd be able to identify it in 2 seconds. Now, when I say a spender, I mean, I don't spend my money on clothes or material objects. I spend it on more experiences. So I'm looking for more that person. I think for the most part, people tend to mesh like this, whether you find it or not, but money tends to be that one thing that divides pretty much everybody. It's tough. Money can be tough. Debt can be tough.
It is true. And so my girlfriend Monique says it's not always are both people on the same page about finances. And sometimes, because finances is one of those emotional things, people say one thing and then they kind of go down another path. And anyways, I wasn't trying to put you on a spot, Ryan. I'm just trying to say that, and Owen knows you have to, when you're in a married situation, it's not always easy. And there are times when money is a big thing that pulls people apart. 100% for sure. If you're not on the same page, it's horrible.
I think that's the key part, is if you're on a different page, right? I don't think that most people aren't extreme one way or the other. Most people are kind of in the middle. You might spend a little bit more on some clothes every so often, and maybe I spend a little bit on video games and stuff like that, right? Everyone spends money somewhere, but I think the part where things fall apart for a lot of people is they don't talk about it, right? If you don't have the conversation once a week about, what are our plans, what's our goals? If you don't have any of those, that's where I think the issues begin to happen, right? So
35 minutes into it, we've gone Dr. Phil. This is a total relationship rehab. You know what, though? It's true.
But okay. So when Tim and I did the financial diet, I relinquished control of the bank account. And what I did with that was I would tell him when I was going to make a large purchase, so he had knowledge of it. Because if he's planning where we're putting into savings and where we're paying bills and where we're doing all of this, and we went into this agreeing, my girlfriends thought I was nuts, like he was controlling me. I go, no, we are going into this financial diet knowing that if he's going to take over and do that, then I'm going to be courteous enough to go, oh, I'm getting my hair done. Can you make sure that there's a lot of money in the bank account?
But I'll be transparent. And through that process, I would religiously, and I don't know if it was OCD or what it was, but I would get up and every morning I would check my bank accounts online. I would check my bank accounts. I would check my visas to make sure there was no unnecessary, to keep myself in line, but to keep the family in line, right?
My father does the same thing, and my mother kills him for it.
I do business and I do personal. And Nancy knows if I see something on the visa, I go.
He always asks, did you spend something that you didn't tell me about? And I'm like, I can no longer just pull something out of the back of the closet and say, oh, I've had this forever. That's gone away. I have to be kind of really accountable to what we're doing. But it does make a difference, because then he does say all the time, is that a want or is that a need?
Oh, you never get out of that. I mean, once that's ingrained in you, it would be like someone going through the Great Depression back when my parents were growing up, and they went through that experience and they carried that through. That's why they were such great savers back that generation. Do you know what I mean? They just got enthralled in that. This is how you do it. And you don't, you keep your money in your pockets.
Yeah.
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 My friend Monique said something. I don't even know if you want to bring it up, because I think this is such a duality of opinions on this one. Joint account versus not joint account. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Joint accounts work for some couples, and then other couples don't want joint accounts. They want an account. So, I mean, I think that one is perception based, because I don't know. I've got people in my family who religiously subscribe to the fact that there's two separate accounts. Then I've got my parents who they share everything known to man. For me, for instance, if I had a wife and family, whether I made more or she made more, it'd always be shared. I think that one's more based on the individual.
Yeah. I think, well, Owen, what do you think? I was pausing to see, because I'm like, what is he going to say over here? So before we get to him, what do you think, Owen? Separate accounts or joint account or a combination?
We do joint account. I think it's easier for us to, it helps that she doesn't like money. She doesn't like to talk about money. She doesn't enjoy dealing with it. So I pay all the bills. I deposit the checks. I take care of the investing. So I do a lot of it anyway. So for us, we do joint, and it makes it easier for us, but that's not to say that other people can't make it work with separate.
For sure. And Kate, you guys tell me maybe in the comments, Owen and you and Tim and Nancy, but I actually feel like it would be I don't know if I could be in a relationship if someone wanted a separate account. I only say that because it almost throws a little bit of shade, or they don't have confidence. I don't know about, because I've got family members who do the whole separate account thing, and they both go through the exact same ups and downs. So yep. I don't see where the imbalance comes from, and it's just, I mean, it's supposed to be a team. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit looking at it old school. I don't know, but I couldn't imagine having a separate account.
I think that if
your mom's answer cracked me up. Sorry.
joint in secret. No, I think that if your goals are the same, then there's no reason to have separate accounts,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to be careful saying that because I'm not here to judge people that have
No,
separate
of course,
accounts.
of
But
course.
to me, it just makes no sense to do it that way. It just makes things more complicated if your plans and your goals are the same, right? So,
Well, exactly.
yeah.
That's-
Yeah, and Monique is saying, she said, yeah, but you still have to have a budget meeting because even if you had your separate account, what are you making? Are you making faces?
A budget meeting, okay, for a marriage. I'm just thinking about if I had a wife and I had a budget meeting. I'm just thinking, to me, like, I'm not going to be speaking on behalf of anybody, but I just can honestly say I would never. I've been in a scenario with somebody very long term, and I've just budget meetings. I would never classify it as a budget meeting. There's life. But
why wouldn't you classify it as a budget meeting?
Because that's not what it is. Like, I mean, you guys need to, for instance, like you have to live together, thrive together, succeed together. We help each other, we support each other. But a budget meeting between a long-term couple, I mean, there's a difference between chatting about the receipts and the finances or a budget meeting. Like, I don't understand the terminology with respect to the mentality looking at it like that. I mean,
okay, but but it would be no different than having a business meeting on anything, right? So
I don't marry people I work with. You know what I mean? Like, with respect to my wife,
but
I
don't you
couldn't
think
imagine.
that's what it is, though, Ryan? Don't you think that that's what you're in a business relationship too? There's just fringe benefits in the business relationship.
Maybe I'm a little bit old. I don't look at it that way.
It depends. I think it would depend on what the word budget means to you. Like, to me, a budget is not a negative thing. To me, a budget is me telling my money what to do and where to go, right? And if a budget to you is restrictive and makes you feel like you're in prison and things like that, then maybe don't use the word budget.
I just wonder though, like, why would you have to have a budget meeting if you're living together every single day of the week and communicating?
Because if you don't set the time to do it,
but I mean, how is that communication not established already?
Because the communication happens at the budget meetings. Because if throughout your week, throughout your week, you don't talk about everything. You have to make the time to do it, otherwise it slips through.
Good point from Owen. Good point from Nancy, because maybe that's why I'm single, because I talk about money every single friggin' day. And I don't need a budget meeting because I feel like I would talk about it all the time.
No. Look at Nate. Nate says, hey guys, budget meetings are sexy.
Yeah, sit at the kitchen table, take your clothes off, and it'll be great.
Okay, look at it that way.
Really fun.
All right, folks. At this point,
poker.
folks, keep the comments clean because
sorry about that.
We get in this rabbit hole, we can get the boot for whatever someone puts down.
Oh man! So we've got at home with Heather. She says she's late to the party, but welcome. Devo says, Rye, you marriage is a business.
I don't look at it that way.
How do you know what you spend is and how much you have left? Reviewing the spend for the year. How will you pay for a roof and car, etc.? Oh, that's what Monique is saying. So she's talking about the big spends, not the day-to-day spends.
So on operating.
Okay. With respect to your friend Monique here, I can confidently say I disagree entirely with that aspect of organizing finances. If you're paying for a car and a roof, okay, you're probably talking about it damn near every day until it happens. I don't see a scenario where you know what, maybe I'm like, honestly, guys, and I'm seeing a lot of people, marriage is a contract, and I'm just so like, I don't look at marriage that way. I look at marriage, I don't care if I'm a millionaire and I marry someone who makes $1 a year, or if she's a millionaire and I make nothing. Money to me is the last thing I want to talk about with a woman, okay? Because, or a man, but I don't want to talk about money in a relationship. To me, at least, it's a partnership. I know that people are I'm already seeing it in the comments, guys. I know that people disagree with me, but to me, I would rather free ball it if the wife spends 10 grand in a day and I'm disappointed because we didn't have it. Fair enough. But there's going to be a day I buy a stereo, or there's going to be a day I buy something. The last thing I want to do is talk about money. And my mom said she'd care if I made $1. Mom, let me have faith in humanity here, okay?
We've gotten away from talking about debt and we're talking about bank accounts and everything
Talk
else.
about a rabbit hole. I see China coming back.
Well, okay, so but this is all good conversation because some people can't even have the conversation. It took Tim and I a long time to actually schedule ourselves into regular meetings about our finances. And now it's actually kind of exciting. We look at it like we once a year pull out and talk about, make sure we got everything in line. Do we have the right amount of insurance based on where we're at for what assets we've got to insure? You look down your checklist of all the things. It's a good idea, I think, once in a while.
Well, that's what we personally do, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about everyone too, is that who the hell am I to talk to you guys about couples and marriage and this as a single guy from Calgary living on my own, right? So I'm only giving my opinion.
That's okay. Yeah, that's good. And that's what makes this work, right?
Well, and I love this comment by Lena. Welcome, Lena. I love your comment. After our first budget meeting, 14 years in, we paid down half of a debt in a year, almost done. So this is what happens. Life just gets away from us, right? Like, Owen, life gets away from us. I think you made that comment. Every day, the days go by, and we just sometimes, Tim and I've talked more in the last 4 months doing this YouTube channel than we have in years. Because I would come in from work at about 7 o'clock at night. I'd wolf down food. I'd watch a little something on TV. We'd go to bed, and then we'd start the whole day again. And so days go by, and you don't talk about things.
So let me ask everyone a question. Do you think COVID and the quantitative easing that has thus ensued has put people more into debt, or has taken people a little bit out of debt?
Okay. Good friggin' question, Tim. I'm interested to hear what people have to say. I've got my own opinion on that. But also, with respect to Lena's comment here, because this is the only thing that had it clue into me. First budget meeting, 14 years in, pay down half the debt. Okay. With respect to the marriage aspect and couples, nothing wrong with having the budget meeting, but all I meant was that it would be a budget meeting based on our account. That's all that I meant based on that. It wasn't that's all I meant by that. Yeah. And debt is lower right now, he's saying. Okay. On what class of citizen though? Because there's two scenarios that are dying right now. And two scenarios right now. One's dying, one's thriving. One class of citizen is succeeding, and that's the class that has, as Chrystia Freeland has said, that $180 billion in their savings account to spread out across the citizens. And there's the other class that has used CERB irresponsibly. So there's two scenarios here, big time.
Yeah, and there are people that are in like Laura's comment here, the responsible people have paid debt down. The not so responsible people are way more in debt. But then Candace says it's hard to say, as she knows people are sick of the pandemic, but it has greatly improved her life financially. I would say it's greatly improved our life financially too.
I can honestly say for myself, even before this YouTube channel, with respect to my old job, the pandemic was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I hate saying that, okay? But it financially was the best thing that ever happened to me. So it goes two ways. I just want, it goes both ways. There are winners and losers in every situation. Just people got to keep that in mind. But
so Owen, have there been activities and stuff that have curtailed for you over the pandemic?
Honestly, basically just sports. That's the only thing. I was never a guy that went out to clubs, or I never really went to concerts or anything like that. So in terms of my spending habits, I save money on all the sports I used to play. So
okay.
Apart from that, like I'm an IT guy.
Okay.
So my job has stayed exactly the same all through the pandemic because I'm classified as essential. So
Yep.
I go in every day, and nothing's changed for that. And my wife, same thing. She's essential as well, and so we just keep plugging.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nate says people are saving more and spending less. The lower class would be hurting. We've got Brian Ward says COVID has saved me money. He renewed his mortgage at 1.74% over
That's
5 years.
that's
That
nice.
So folks, just with Brian here, when I took out my first loan,
First mortgage.
first mortgage, when I bought my franchises of Young Drivers of Canada back in 1990, my interest rate was 18%.
That was our home mortgage, 18%.
Home mortgage, man. Home mortgage.
Think about that.
I never thought I would get out of debt.
Yeah.
Ever.
I think my parents was, I think, 22%
Yeah.
on their first house. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
insane. Sean says financially it's been good. Socially it has sucked. Except Sean, you found us. And you are you guys are more than welcome to join on and have a conversation with us. Come in and join the party. I keep putting the link in the comment section, so feel free to jump on in. I've got your name wrong again. I think you said it was Christian, saying the pandemic is awful and I miss outside, but I would not have been saving as much as I am now. That is really awesome. And I'm just trying to see. There's a whole bunch of comments.
We're still
in
not
here.
on my laptop. It's coming though.
And guys, there's a glass half full situation to every negative. Which is why every market crash, people become millionaires, which is why every single time there's a or you guys are muted, I think. Can you guys hear me?
I hear you.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know what would happen on my computer there. But anyway, okay, forget that. Move on. But again, there's a positive and negative with every situation. It's what you make of it. Glass half full. In the worst of worst situations on the market or socially or financially, trust me, there's a place to go. If anything, my channel's the perfect epitome of it because I was in the lowest of every scenario you can imagine and found a way. So just glass half full, guys. Keep your brains literally peaked out. Try your hardest, and that's the way to go.
Yeah. Chase said he bought a house this year at 2.4%, and he's already made $100,000 on his investment during the pandemic.
Nice, buddy.
That's
yeah.
nice.
And Pat says save more to spend on renovating, but everything else has gone up in price.
That's the thing, Pat. Keep in mind, you're okay. This is okay. I saving money. This is why you can look up on YouTube 100 times over. You can save money, and then inflation kills your cash, right? So when you're thinking about renovating, everything's gone up in price. So you've saved all this money, and then all of the prices have gone up as for inflation and the market that we're dealing with right now. So that's the thing to really consider with respect to savings, because you're not really saving money when you put money into a savings account. You're not at all. You're burning cash. Like I mean, renovating, fantastic, but you just got to keep in mind cash in the bank account waiting for something to happen in a few years is burning cash. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Nate's got one. My house has increased by over $450K over 1.5 years. It's so insane. It really it's really insane. Wow. I had a girlfriend who used to rent a cottage all the time, and she wanted to buy that cottage. Then the gal who was selling it last year said, $650,000. And then she pulled the house off the market. So my girlfriend wasn't even able to put an offer in on it. And they put it up like 3 weeks ago and got $250,000 more than they were asking, over and above the asking price. And even the renting, they were renting it out at $1,800 a week for a rental, like for a summer rental. And now it's at $2,800 for a summer rental. Like, it's just the prices of things have just, this is why I'm always going on about inflation. It can't help but happen.
Well, the other problem though is you sell your house for more money, but then you have to turn around and buy a house for more money too. So you don't really there's going to be a group of people that sell at the perfect time, and then everything's going to possibly come down a little bit, and then you can make some money. But apart from that, you sell, you got to buy high too, right? So
or you rent.
Or you rent, yeah.
Like we do.
You rent. But I hate giving that kind of money away too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
because we didn't start renting in this market, so we're in a good little situation, and we're really grateful. But yeah, no,
You got to
it's
think about this too, guys, because again, the demographics of the channel, at least on my channel, then the crossover, so many young people right now are priced out. They just can't buy it, even if they chose. Even if they had a couple, even if it was a couple, they're still going to have a hard time. The market right now is so inflated that I would say millennials are borderline priced out of the market. It's absolutely do you think I can come up, for instance, as a self-employed guy now, could I come up with 25% of the average, let's say 500 grand? Like, you know how much friggin' money that is, everybody?
The average Canadian house is over 600,000 now.
Okay, so 25% of $600,000, I need $150,000, or I need $150,000. Okay, cash. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Insane.
I'm 29. I'm single. $150,000 cash. The market right now is at a point. This is how you know that the housing bubble is not just a news headline. Because if a percentage of the population can no longer buy the house, the market will inevitably pull back simply because their market share is no longer there. So as the bubble increases and it gets bigger and bigger and excludes more and more, that's how you can tell the formation of a bubble. And quite honestly, this housing market, just the fact that you've got to be very well off to buy a house, like it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm 29 years old and I need $125,000 to buy a townhouse.
well, yeah, but don't forget, you don't need that. You stay to that threshold to stay out of the CMHC. And the
As a
insurance part,
self-employed guy, I can't buy first-time home buyer 5%. I need 25%.
Oh,
now.
okay, I didn't know. Oh,
Yeah.
So any
Oh.
self-employed guy, if you're in construction, or girl, if you're in construction, if you're self-employed, and if you're an entrepreneur, rocking and rolling, doing your own thing, they make it 10 times harder for you to buy a house than it is someone who takes a job at McDonald's. Mark my words, a guy at McDonald's making $15 an hour will be able to buy a house faster than you because you can't come up with 25% of $700,000. Maybe
Double
that's
standard,
the political climate. I don't know, but I will say that it's not geared towards self-employment at all because I couldn't have. I mean, how am I going to come up with 125 grand for the average house? I'm not doing it right now.
That's just it. And I will say, Ken said, what about rent? When the bubble pops, rent will stay the same for people locked in, which is true. Because once you're in a rental situation, they can only jack it up by a certain percentage every
I
single
will
month.
also say this though, Ken, it should stay the same because you haven't taken the risk of buying the house in the market. So quite honestly, if you're not taking the risk, then you pay a consistent basis regardless of market, right? Whereas if it goes up or down, okay, the homeowner either gains or loses, but that's not up to you because as a renter, you didn't take the risk. So a rental, for instance, a rental price, regardless of the market, should stay the same because the renter doesn't take the risk. And that's truly, truly my opinion. And again, my family's a bunch of landlords, but I can honestly say there are moments where they lose a lot of money. But in the few moments that they win, it's because they took a lot of risk because you didn't take that risk renting the house.
Right. And so this is what Joe says. He says, that's my issue. He's self-employed. He makes great money. He needs his Bitcoin to 10x so he can afford a home. Hey, listen, Joe, that's what we're hoping happens too. We got our fingers and toes and everything else crossed. Same thing. So
that's something people need to keep in mind too, is that like getting a job and being employed, okay, collecting a T4, for instance, has significantly more benefits than people realize. But at the same time, the people who collect a T4 are not the same as the people who rely and can only survive on a T5. So if you're an entrepreneur, I'm like, for instance, I said this to my parents, I'm a horrible employee. I will never be a good employee. I suck. You cannot tell me to do what you want me to do because if I'm paid $20 an hour, it means that you're making 40 and now I want more piece of the pie. It doesn't matter what I make. It's just the mentality. There's no scenario for a self-employed person. And right now the environment is not encouraging of those self-employed. It's tough, Joe, but that's the risk you take when you decide to work for yourself, buddy. But that's part of the gig. Being self-employed is tough on every aspect of the things, but roll with the punches, buddy. But trust me, I guarantee you're happier self-employed than you would be otherwise, because otherwise you would be working for someone.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to throw another question out, and we'll start with Owen. Owen, surprising thing that you wish someone had explained to you younger.
About money.
God. You could have let him say anything, Tim. We're on a live stream here.
Yeah, but Big Brother's watching the comments, right?
Heyo.
I would say save more. Like
Save more?
Like the problem with that is people did tell me that, but when you're 17, 16, 18, you're like, I'll worry about that later, right?
Hey, Owen, do you mean save more or invest more efficiently? Because like they're two totally different things.
Probably a bit of both. Like I saved money, but if I saved more, I could have gone through school debt free.
I know, but every dime you save costs you money.
I guess it depends what area of life you're in, right? If you're 18,
that's okay. That's a very good point.
Saving money is more important. Although investing at 18 is also really good too. But you got to buy your first car. You got to pay for school. You're thinking about houses. So saving money is really important when you're younger. However, that being said, a really good thing that I did was I started investing when I was 19, 20 years old. And I talked to friends who, like, I'm 27 now. I talked to friends of mine, and
how is your beard so thick at 27? I'm dying.
Good genes.
Oh,
no,
God.
It could be a curse sometimes, but no, I have friends that are 27, 30 years old, and they don't have that much money kicking around anymore to put towards investing, right? And it's can be hard for those people. So starting to
sense, because you actually made a lot of sense, Owen. And by the way, thank you for crossing over to the Tim and Nancy Danter channel. Let me tell you this, okay? Because you're saying save money to buy a car, buy your first house, yada yada yada, right? Okay, so that's obviously something you have to consider. But saving money costs you money. In my opinion, I would say that my biggest lesson from my parents, and it's sad that I only learned this in the last few years, credit score. Because quite honestly, I don't need to save money if I have a high credit score. I can invest effectively, I can invest efficiently, and my credit score will allow me to now take advantage of lenders at low rates to maximize potential. So I don't know if saving money. Now, you said
that's where I disagree with you, though, because I hate debt. Period.
See, to me, I see debt as an income generator.
And I will never take out another loan for a car.
You won't take out a 3% loan if you can earn 6% back?
No, well, I would never borrow money to invest money, because it's the risk is too high for me there.
Well, that's what you have to do if you want to buy a house, though. Like, what if you want to buy rental properties and stuff?
So to buy a house, I have no choice basically but to do that. But for things like a car, like I did my first car, I financed it. And I wish I never did that. But moving forward, things like that, I personally will never take out loans for anything if I don't have to.
So I will say this then, Owen, because this is such a great conversation. Do you ever weigh the interest you're paying versus the growth that you could have versus the cash? Because I've never met like, for instance, debt is probably the only thing that I mean, I could, well, there's obviously differences of opinion on this one, but I can honestly say that debt is an income generator if used appropriately. And I've seen it with my own family. I've seen it with life. If I can take out $100,000 at 3% and start a business or do this or that, I know for a fact that 3% is garbage. And okay, Nate nailed it. I'm speaking about not necessarily risk, because the risk is, compared to the growth aspect, but leverage. That is the key word. So you don't take advantage of leverage, because you could quite honestly, with a high credit score, turn your $500,000 in debt into 750 grand in 2 years, like with just rental properties or investments. I mean, and that's
sure, but
you
rental properties, like once again, there's an element of risk there where I'm not comfortable taking that personally. And I'm not judging other people for doing that.
perfect
And
for you doing that. Risk tolerance is key.
Yeah. I was just raised to not do debt, and it's really ingrained. It's really ingrained in me, and I took it out. I took the loan out for my first car, and I remember I told my dad that, and he just like looked at me, and he's just like shook his head.
Oh, wow.
As a former car guy,
wow.
I can honestly tell you, too many young guys get caught up in that trap. Young girls, young guys, too many people get caught up in the car trap. But I just hate to think, because it's the number one thing you've mentioned the whole time. But I know everyone's brought up a certain way, but cars have a way of screwing you over, and
they do.
Other
And
investments, though.
I understand the mathematics and whatnot behind what you're talking about, and you're not wrong. However, to me, getting into debt is not something I ever want to do. And
you know what I love about what you just said, Owen? It goes so much with both of our channels here, is that if you're not prepared to do it, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you're not doing it. And I love that about what you just said, dude, because if I'm comfortable doing one thing, keep in mind, I'm a single guy with no kids and no wife and no right?
Yeah.
So I can afford to take a certain amount of risk. Now, the situation changes when you have a wife. The situation changes, or husband. The situation changes when you have kids. So there's that risk profile that develops throughout life. So I mean, having what you just said there, Owen, was actually absolutely mint, because it's the differentiating factor between the lifestyles that we all live. We've got the crypto couple here who's established. We've got Nate, you're a year younger than me, married. And then we've got me, almost 30, but single, no responsibilities. And I mean, the debt scenario or risk factors change across all three of these screens. I think that was actually a really good point, Owen, because he's saying hi.
Well, and I would say too, after you've been through a devastating financial blow like we were in 2008 and 2009, peace of mind became more important to me than almost anything ever again. And so we will do risk to the point where I feel like it can tolerate it. And I gave this on one of the videos the other day, that our credit card is only at the limit enough that I could pay it off in full at every single pay if I wanted to. So we don't have it where the bank gives us 20,000, 50,000. They would be willing to give us an exorbitant amount of credit on that credit card. We chose to only be one paycheck away from ever being able to pay that darn thing off completely. And that gives me peace of mind.
So I was raised, if you don't mind me just expressing, Kate, because I came from purely entrepreneur lifestyle. It was, I mean, nobody in my family has ever had a boss. I felt like a friggin' dummy having a boss, but I just can't mentally do it. As much as I'd like to do it, I can't mentally do it. I will say that risk tolerance changes. I will also say this. For instance, my parents, to this day, will debt themselves deep until the moment, and it's just come recently, where it's all kind of evened out, right? And it's paid off, but now they've got like, I don't know how many houses, they bought a restaurant and 3 or 4. There comes a point where you absorb debt and you live like a bum to pay that debt off, okay? And it's a sacrifice. That's the entrepreneurial sacrifice. But debt is a sacrifice. That is the nature of it. It's how you use debt, in my opinion. And I've seen it be used. For instance, my parents are barely 48, 49. And I can honestly say, without even talking about their situation, I've seen debt work. So it's truly about, can you sacrifice what the debt requires? Maybe that's the question too. Because if you have a wife and kids, maybe not. But like, I've been gone for 20 years or 10 years to you know what I mean? They've had the ability to absorb certain risk. And I mean, to me, I don't know if it's I live on the edge or something, but like, risk is the only thing that there's no reward without risk.
Go ahead,
I can't see it happening.
No, it's just like I get what you're saying, Ryan, and you're right. Like our risk tolerance has changed depending on our life situations and whatnot. And it's just for me to do something like that, the risk reward,
That's the thing. Yeah.
it's not for me.
There you go.
I'm not comfortable with that. And for people that aren't like you grew up in a family that this is what they do. This is part of them. Entrepreneurship, rental properties, things like that. For the average Joe who might not come from that kind of a family or might not know about it, if you go ahead and you do that, you're looking for trouble if you don't know what you're doing.
But okay, hold on. You say you're looking for trouble. Now we've gotten, and this is what I love about live streams and bringing people on. When you say you're looking for trouble, is it because you don't know what to do, or is it because you don't believe in it?
If you don't know what you're doing and you're trying something because someone else said you can do this or you could make lots of money and you're like, oh, he said I can make lots of money, let's do it. Those kind of people are going to be the ones that get burned. That's kind of all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Question now for Owen then and the Danters. Do you believe there is a genuine difference in risk profile versus with respect to those who are innately entrepreneurs versus the others, or not entrepreneur? Like, because I don't know why my risk tolerance is so high, but I will never, let's put it this way. I'm going to be in as much debt as I possibly can be until I'm happy. And then the debt equals out and I've established now assets that are through the roof. So for me, I take advantage of every friggin' debt known to man, especially when interest rates are so low. But is there a difference between, maybe I'm coming at it from a different page. Tim, you start because
I think you can kind of look back and I hope I get this right, but it's like someone that says they hear a good stock and they understand it until the help goes away and they're left on their own. And then they get themselves, as Owen says, into trouble because they love the idea, they get caught up in it, or they want to do it because they think they should do it, but they really don't. And it's no fault of their own.
Is it a fault of their own though for not doing further research?
Yes, could be. It could be. It is. In fact, it could be absolutely just that's the nature they are, Ryan.
They made the choice to do that. And kind of to Ryan's point, I do think that there are just some people that are more acceptable of higher risk than other people.
Oh, like sure
for myself, like I'm not borrowing money. You're the complete opposite. You want to borrow everything. And
buddy, if I can borrow money at 3% and make 6, I'll borrow it every friggin' day of the week.
And you say that, and for me, I look at that and I say, I could do that, but I could get really screwed by doing that. If I do something wrong, right? That's kind of how my viewpoint on it. That's not to say I'll never do something like that, but at this point, heck no, I'm staying away from that. And I would encourage people that if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
Exactly. Everyone pay attention to what Owen just said.
But that's with everything. Like even like investing. I started when I was 19, and so I know more about it than a lot of people my age, but that has also, it's grown my confidence over that 8-9 year period, right? And I have 8 or 9 years of experience past someone who's never done it. And so I meet with, like, I have friends or family that I talk with, and I say, just do this. It's easy. It's fine. But they, but they've never done it, and it's not easy for them. And it's not they don't know what I know, right? And it's the information of what you've gained that enables you to do more.
And that's what you're saying. And part of what I'm getting out of what you're saying, Owen, is the fact is that you've taken your lumps along the way and you've learned lessons.
For sure. But I've learned little lessons.
Absolutely.
$200, right?
Absolutely. As opposed to someone who, and different strokes for different folks, right?
For sure. Yeah.
But this is how we learn things anyway in life, is by taking our lumps. Some of them are big lumps and some of them are little bumps, right?
And you hope there's more little bumps than big ones.
Right.
Right. And I would say Nate's right. Risk profile is key on this. There's 2 camp conversation. One camp says don't take it on debt. Another camp says use it to grow. And both of them are very valid. I would say
It's risk profile based, honestly, after gauging this conversation, because quite honestly, the one thing that I'm gathering here is that what are the differences between the four of us here, right? There's only one of us who can do, with respect to the freedom that I have right now, not being tied down in a relationship. I don't have massive obligations. My risk profile can tolerate significantly more than, I would say, 90% of people, which is, why I might buy into penny stocks that I can sit on for a year. I might buy into this and that. I think Monique said calculated risk, know your tolerance, educate yourself, bang on, because it's calculated. There's no such thing as a bad answer if you've calculated your path forward and you know exactly where you're going. But it's all about your own tolerance. And that's why this conversation is so unique. I mean, we've got a married man right here. We've got a couple here with 2 kids that are rocking and rolling here. And then we've got a single guy in a bachelor pad. This couldn't be any more different. But, what's interesting is that the risk tolerances are also from here to here. And it's this conversation is so unique, actually. I'm glad, Owen, you came on, by the way.
Yeah, me too. And I will tell you, even in our married situation, I am way more I will put us out on a limb way more quickly than he will put us out on a limb. And I will stretch us, and it scares him, and then he pulls me back. And we've had to learn how to balance ourselves out. And so like if you looked at go back quite a few years when we first started investing, I would do the high risk investing and he was very low risk. And every year we would look at our investment portfolios together and he goes, how the hell have you made so much damn money? And I'm like, I am high risk. And I said, but I say, do you want to go into some higher risk? No.
Nancy, can I ask you a question right now?
Yeah.
There was a comment by Brian Ward 4 or 5 comments ago, whatever it was. Can you bring that up right now? I want to actually answer that because it relates back to the initial conversation that we started here. What would you do with $10,000 at 3%? Okay. How many of us have a credit card? Okay. How many of us have a car note? Or that's an American way of saying it. How many of us have a car loan? Okay. How many of us have a mortgage? How many of us have debt over 3%? If I got $10,000 right now at 3% and paid off a debt at anything above 3%, I make money. There, boom. I therefore use debt to make me money. I therefore use debt to make me money. So that's exactly what I do. It doesn't have to be a 3 to 6%. If I had 10 grand to pay off a 4% debt, but I'm only paying 3%, I make money. So that's what I would do. And okay, Chase is saying this, easier said than done. Buying at 3% to make 6% back is the way to go all day. Easier said than done. Okay, because I mean, is 6% guaranteed though, Brian? Okay, maybe you guys were kind of taking it too much to heart. It was more of a generalization comment. But what I'm saying is, if you're taking a loan for say 3-4%, but you have a 20% credit card debt, come on, use your brain. You want to make money? Use that $10,000 loan at 3% to pay off your credit card. Simple as that. And you just made a lot of money. And I don't mean made it, but you saved thousands of dollars.
But one of the things that I will say, I'm going to go back to something Owen said earlier. And it's sort of what you said. If you don't have somebody to help you and guide you through, because Zeno's comments here is like, it's good to have parents and mentors that you can learn from in business. Honestly, Ryan, that's true. Because to what Owen was saying, if you didn't grow up with parents that knew how to do all of those things, then it makes it scarier to step in and take some of those risks. And even, I mean, that's in anything in life. If you don't have somebody who's gone forward in 5 steps ahead of you and can reach back and say, hey, come, I know the secret passages through this, then it does become arduous. And let's just go to the basic common denominator.
Does the shift?
No. Let's just go to the basic common denominator. Ryan, you built a YouTube channel bigger than we've built a YouTube channel. Even though we're younger than you, we call you to ask you questions all the time.
Even
Even though we're older than you, even though you're younger than us, we call you to ask you because you've done it ahead of us. So we'll ask you questions. Okay, what do we do about this? And how do we do this? And what does this look like? And it's no darn different, truthfully, than what Owen was saying earlier. If you've got people
But why don't people take the responsibility? Okay. The onus is on us as viewers, as participants. The onus is on us. If I want my life to change, it ain't happening by watching. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the one thing I don't get is maybe I'm lucky enough to grow up so freaking like I'm almost too confident. And I know that my viewers know this sometimes. Okay. I can come across as that way, but I don't understand why, for instance, every time I have a problem, I solve it in 2 minutes. I don't need, I just don't understand why people can't necessarily find the way out.
That's deep down inside of you, Ryan. There's some people that are like, you and I are cut from the same cloth on a lot of levels. I am like, I will go out and I'll try something and, oh, well, if it doesn't work, I will figure it out and I'll find another solution and we'll do it again. There are other people that that almost paralyzes Tim. He doesn't, listen, he calls me a tornado. He just says eventually something will fall out of this.
When
and I
just have to get the heck out of the way.
I just have to stand back, right? And let something happen. But I mean, Owen made a very, very good point. It's not always innate in everybody to take those kinds of risks.
Believe it or not, I'm the risk taker in my family, right? I got my dad into, was that me?
No.
That was a motorcycle.
Oh, okay. No, I got my dad into TFSAs. I've got my brother going into Simple Trade. He's playing around with $300-400 now. I wouldn't even consider talking to them about crypto yet. But like, you talk about differences in people. Like you say, like I would say in this conversation we're having, I'm on the conservative side here, and from the family I come from, I'm the risk taker.
Wow.
Right? So all these things we're talking about is very relative to who your current situation and where you come from, how you were raised. I think that deep down people just have an innate risk tolerance that they have, right?
I really do believe, I can honestly say this, and I don't mean to alienate everybody. Some people are born only to work for themselves, and some people can function in society the way that you were supposed to function. I can't function in society. I've tried, and then my whole family's tried. Also, that last comment by Nate, I will say that it was a bit of a generalization, Nate, because there are people who you might have a hard time with and they learn. So it's Nate, that was a bit of a generalization. I bet Tim gets anxiety when Nancy goes shopping. Chris Dolt. Chris, I haven't seen you on my channel for a while, bud.
But when I hear Tim and Nancy talk about their situation, it could very well be that if Tim wasn't in Nancy's life, she goes too far on the risky side and gets a big bump, right? And maybe it's the combo of Tim with her that's kept her back on the edge, but not. I'm sure there's an element of that there too.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking with my wife today, and we're selling our pool and we're doing a couple other things, so we have a bit of extra money in our account, and I kind of made the joke, I could put another $1,000 in crypto. She's like, oh no, right? And so if I was living on my own, like Ryan, and I was single, that's probably what I would do. But yeah, there's different pieces you got to work with when you're married too, right? Now it's not just money, but now it's not only my risk tolerance, but now it's her risk tolerance as well, right? So it gets, all those things just get complicated.
And look, buddy, I mean, there's a part of me as a single guy, I can't wait till I have a family and a wife and kids and this and that, but at the same time, I don't. So I'm very lucky that I don't have to deal with the secondary aspect of it. But I will say that I understand where you're coming from with respect to the word sacrifice, because it's not necessarily a sacrifice if you're giving it up for the sake of your family. But at the same time, there's that deep down feeling where you want to do something, okay, and you're giving it up for the sake of the family.
Which goes back to why your mom said that sometimes you have a secret account.
You know what? I'll tell you this. My mom shouldn't have said that.
Listen. I have a bunch of friends. I have a bunch of girlfriends that all kept money from their husbands. I have one.
Well, look,
friend,
my dad watches this too, so let's chill out.
Listen, I am telling you right now, if I need money, I know I have a girlfriend. She keeps a lot of money in her red cowboy boots in her closet. I know exactly where I'm going to go to break in and whose house has got $50,000 worth of cash in their cowboy boots. I know exactly where I'm going.
You guys want to hear something funny about cash? So we were talking about this on my last live stream, and then about 2 live streams ago, we had a question about cash. I once met a guy, he was a rock star. His name was Jay Humphrey. You guys won't be able to find him even if you tried, so I'll give his name. He knew my dad since he was like 3 years old, and they were like best buddies. Anyway, I went over to this guy's house one night, I'd say 5 years ago. I'm chilling, we're ordering pizza, I'm hanging out with him and his wife, and then he goes to pay the pizza guy. Okay. And I don't even think about it. Okay. He opens this. I don't know. I don't drink coffee. So forgive me. Okay. But I don't drink coffee. He opens this, like, I don't know, Maxwell House, I think it's called, tin. Like, you know, those big tins, freaking stacked. And I'm just like, this guy had like 40 grand in freaking cash in a Maxwell tin. And I'm just like, you never know where people are coming from. It's a different scenario all across the board. I think everybody does what they need to do to feel secure. It's just funny how secure means something different to literally everybody on the planet. For me, secure means being able to satisfy growth debt, which is what I call it now. But secure to someone else is having $30,000 in a coffee tin. I mean, you never know. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Candace says I should keep my hands clean and hire someone to steal the boots for me. That's a good idea.
Come on. Come on, Candace. Bigcash.ca.
No. This has been really fun, guys. We've actually, I can't believe we've gone for an hour and 26 minutes. We have 38 viewers for an impromptu chat. And I think it was well worth the discussion. I you know, debt is one of those things that honestly, it can eat you alive. It really can eat you alive. And the best thing we can do is have a plan to get it paid down. Start with the highest. I know some people talk about the snowball effect and go the lowest balance first, and then take that minimum payment and add it on. I believe that, except that I almost kind of believe start with the big high interest ones first, because they kill you. Those high interest ones kill you.
I'm a big. Sorry.
Go ahead,
Owen.
I'm a big believer in the snowball. Yeah. Personally, small ones to the big ones. It's like,
buddy,
it's about getting those little wins at the beginning, right? Getting you motivated, keeping you going. It can do more for you than paying off a giant chunk that you never really seem to get anywhere with.
My biggest piece of freaking advice right now is for everybody to stop thinking about level 100. Focus on level 1 and 2 for the small gains. Okay. There's something to be said with what Owen just said. Take the gain. Okay. Establish level 1. Boom. Get level 2. Move on step by step. Can you climb a ladder without the first 10 rungs? Okay. No. So figure out the first rung of the ladder and climb your way up. Because if you're thinking about the top of the friggin' ladder, okay, and there's no base to it, what are you going to do? I mean, that's the only analogy I can compare to it, because you have to figure out the basics. And Owen nailed it on that one. Owen, you nailed it, bud.
If I could give a piece of advice from an old fart,
you're not old.
Well, you know, the oldest one on camera right now is deal with debt when it happens. Don't get into debt, and deal with it when you're young, because when you get to where I am right now, it's not so fun to deal with.
I would say debt that goes against, okay, again, because it's me coming at it.
Oh gosh, we're gonna go back to the
No, we're gonna drop it. But take care of the debt that's at your high interest rates. Take care of that.
Oh, yeah.
But again, think about the growth aspects of it, guys. I mean, this is a different perspective video. There is such a thing as debt that can, name me one entrepreneur that doesn't start a business without debt. Maybe it's just because of how I grew up. There's no entrepreneur on the planet who exists without high debt. It's how you use the debt and how you tackle the obligation. But
you started. I don't know who. I think you're.
Dude, trust me. If you're having a hard time with the fingers now, it's taken me 4 months. I still can't figure it out. Okay.
You started something up, and I would think that your initial startup cost is nowhere near starting some mom and pop shop somewhere where you have to buy a property and you have to buy a building and all that kind of stuff, right? But
what do you value your time at? Okay. Because you think it might not have cost me a lot of dollars. It cost me a lot of time. And my time isn't free, right? No one's time is free. The investment, is divided by perspective and by how you look at things. So let's put it this way. The time now, because I'm getting a little bit better at things, the time is decreasing. Funny enough, the money required is increasing. It's all balanced right out. So starting something is...
Sorry, and I didn't want to make this personal, and I'm not trying to ask you a personal question about how much it started or anything like that. Wasn't my intention.
No, good point. Okay. No. I wanted, dude. I hope you come back on both Tim and Nancy Dancer channel and my channel. No, and that's why I love but just like Great White Vapor, Kenneth just said, time is money. So it's that. I mean, if time is down here and money's up here, it shifts, but it always balances out. Time and money are the same thing.
See, I don't agree with that one either, but that could be an argument for another day.
There you go.
Boy, there's someone you need on your podcast there, Ryan.
Oh my gosh, Owen,
I love it.
This would go and go and go if my dad didn't step in here.
Can you please, Owen, come back onto one of my live streams that I have? And
I would love that for sure.
Okay,
I finally found my webcam, so we should be good now. So
you're a rock star, buddy.
Ryan, so Owen disagrees with you that time and money aren't the same thing. I actually agree with Ryan. Time and money are the same thing. So for me, I'm like, I'm in agreement with Ryan on this one. I was in agreement with Owen on the other thing. We're all over the map here on who agrees.
You know what? If time is money, then it must be hard for you to enjoy a little bit of downtime every so often.
It's very hard.
It must be like. Whereas to me, I don't view time as money, and
buddy, do you know how much I think people like me and Nancy and Tim wish we could frigging think like that? I don't have the mental ability to even think like that.
I just gotta turn it off, Ryan. Turn it off.
Yeah, it is.
I can't turn it off, buddy. You know what? I really believe that because I'm not a bad looking. The reason I believe that I'm single with no kids, is because I can't
agree with
turn it off. I can't turn it off. And it's just in my nature. It's in my soul. I need to find a woman like that. You know what I mean?
You'll find someone that's just like you, and you two you can count your money together as you sit on the couch,
I want her to wake me up at 4 a.m. stressed out about the business. Yeah. That's what I want out of a girlfriend or a wife that I have. That's what I want personally.
I know.
All this banter, you know what? It's all fun, and
you're awesome.
Everyone's different, and everyone's got their own little thing, and I think that's what makes us special.
That's right.
Yeah,
amen, brother. Amen.
And honestly, you are dead on that. It's very difficult for me to shut it off. I have to get to a point where I'm so stretched out, tired that then I do shut it down.
I rely on vices, and Nancy, you're very good that you can handle it without it, because I sometimes need to put myself to sleep. I literally cannot deal with but that's the nature of certain human beings. We all come from a different this is the deepest conversation we've had on live stream, and I friggin' love it. Owen, you're a rock star. Dan, you know what? Let's save some of this for the next one.
Okay, I'll hold my tongue then. But
No,
okay.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't think time is money. That being said, in my downtime, I don't read fiction books. I very rarely watch movies. I enjoy listening to podcasts. I like to read books. I like to learn, right? And so maybe my version of that is that's a little different. But
Would you not consider that your on time though? Because my off time is specifically dedicated to ignoring everything in the world and watching Star Trek.
See, I multitask, so I'll play video games on my one screen, and my other screen, I have a podcast playing.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Both same time.
Okay.
Oh wow.
See, you're borderline like us. You don't even realize that you're borderline like us.
He's
No,
like
it's-
us. He's just coming from a different view.
I drive a lot for work, right? It takes me like 40 minutes one way to get to work. And I listen to podcasts every day, all day
Me too,
long.
man.
So I love them. And but yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, no. This
that's
is
good.
funny. And look at Ken says if you're educating yourself, it's on time. There you go, Ken. And then we've got I'm not sure who this is, but time is value, and value is our human currency, which can vary from person to person.
Wow.
And,
Okay, his name is Next Level, and that
Deep.
comment, buddy, was next
Oh.
level. Okay.
Next level.
You
there
must be good
go.
at license plates too, Ryan.
Ryan must be really good driving down the highway guessing
I
license
know what that
plate.
is.
I know what that guy's license plate means. Anyways, listen, I think it's I always gauge everything by when Candace has to let the dog out. So she has to let the dog out. So I know I'll just wrap it up with a couple of things. There was a couple people that asked us crypto questions. Listen, Crypto Night in Canada is live and kicking and well on Wednesday night. This week it's going to start at 7, and that is 7 Eastern Standard Time, and that is because we are having special guests on. They are Bitcoin maximalists. They're only going to talk about Bitcoin. They don't even really care for the altcoin space, so it's really they're phenomenal, and we are super excited. And Ryan's going to join us so that we can try to get Ryan on more on the Bitcoin train. And
I tend to be a bit of a devil's advocate, as
I
you guys
know
can tell.
you are, and they are taking that with great. They are coming on to challenge you. It's going to be super fantastic. And then we have our regular crypto panel coming on. I know Ken's on here. I'm hoping Ken's going to come back on Wednesday night. And the Coin Chaser and Tim Perry. It'll be a full house. And then we'll talk altcoins and all that sort of stuff. So if you've got some crypto questions, please join us on Wednesday night on the Tim and Nancy Danter channel for Crypto Night in Canada.
And Ryan, are you on tomorrow night?
With my live stream?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Ryan on the Hi Rye Channel, you can go check him out tomorrow night. You got anything exciting happening at 8:00?
I'm getting more into the exciting news that I told you guys. But yeah.
Okay, so he's got his stuff on tomorrow night at 8:00.
That is exciting news, guys. Tune into that.
Both Ryan and we have, if you want to just talk nothing but crypto, you can go to Crypto Night in Canada on Facebook.com, and we've got a page there. Thanks to Ken, he was the one to push us towards that, so they have a place to banter back and forth. And if you want to just talk about investing, then you can go to the Hi Rye Channel. And we have loved having this in-depth psychology, talk about debt. We're going down into a new place, and
this was one of the longest live streams we've ever done.
I think this was one of the best ones we've done.
I know. Owen, by the way, on both Tim and Nancy Danter's channel and on mine, okay, feel free to come on at any moment in time. Okay,
I would love that. I've had a lot of fun. I do have trouble always making them all the time.
That's okay,
man.
Rest assured, I listen to them on the way to work the next morning all the time. So, it can be a little bit difficult for me to make them all, but they are awesome. And I love what both of you guys do with your channels. It's really fun. It is.
You're welcome anytime, my friend.
You are welcome,
Beauty.
welcome. Thank you, everybody who stuck it out. This conversation would not have been as great without you and your comments. It really has been a fun night. Really hope to see you again, and we will talk to you on Crypto Night in Canada.
Or no, you'll see. You'll see Ryan tomorrow night, 8:00. No,
Ayo.
8 o'clock Eastern stems, time 6 Pacific. No, Central.
No. 6 Mountain, 8 Eastern. You're good.
Oh gosh.
What he said.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. See you guys. Thanks
Good night,
again.
everyone. Take care.